My name is Margaret Stevens, and I just want to say a few things before I introduce your panelists. It's very ironic, well, maybe not, but yeah, in a way. You know, Airbus just won that big military juicy contract that Boeing didn't win, and so rumor has it some of those parts are going to be made in Georgia for $8 to $10 an hour. So now cheap labor for military goods is being made in the U.S. If you want cheap labor, you come here. Which is kind of ironic, kind of ties into the concept that this panel is about the cost of war at home. So the basic question, therefore, is who pays for the war, right? And we see it with the education cuts. We see it in the healthcare cuts. We see it in every aspect of federal funding that's been ever generated and fought for to help everyday people. These are the people who are paying for the war. You see it in the mortgage crisis. You see people, middle-class people can't afford their homes anymore. Even upper middle-class people are having trouble paying for their homes. And you know that's a problem once that's happened, right? So even if you just look at like maybe Chicago as a microcosm, and you look at the healthcare system in Chicago, well, where did that money go? Where is that money going? And of course, it's going to the war. And so we just need to pause for a minute and think about what that means, right, for the people here. And so not only do you sort of want to ask the question of who's paying for the war, but probably just as important, if not more important, is the question of how you justify those cuts, how you justify the fact that now across the country, millions and millions of people won't receive the education that they deserve. They won't receive the health care that they deserve. Well, then the question has to come, do they deserve it in the first place? And that's where politics comes in. There has to be a justification, and that's where racism comes in. Because you have to be able to say, well, these people don't need it anyway. Look at them. What are they doing with it? Well, look at them. They're lazy. And they don't pass their tests anyway. Leave the children behind. So we need to really, really think about those two aspects all the time. Not only the cost, but how you justify the cost. And think about how people are being mobilized now. So much hope is being garnered into this future political situation, if you will. And how many people who might have felt very cynical before feel like now we have hope. We have a chance. And the question is, a chance for what? In whom are we placing this hope? And where is this hope going to be funneled in the future? Will it be for a better future, or will it be for wider wars, bigger wars, wars in other places, maybe more in Afghanistan? We really need to think about this cost of the war at home. And I'd say beware of Greeks bearing gifts. Whoever wins, we need to think about who doesn't win. And, you know, it's funny, in Pennsylvania and in New Jersey, during the American Revolution, the guardsmen had their own little mini revolt because they'd been stop-lossed. They were only supposed to be working for about 3 years. They'd been enlisted. But after 5 years, they were still fighting. And so they stopped, and they had their own little mutiny. And it was put down, but they won their benefits. They wanted their benefits. They wanted whatever they were fighting for back then, for the cause that they believed in. And so I think that we, with our whole analogy about when a soldier needs to be more, we should be keen on that particular mini mutiny in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and think about the fact that unlike them, we're one army, and they were put down because they were broken down into little militias. So history has a lot to tell us.